Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Abby and I like to talk about spooky things. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 27 Glitch in the Matrix TikToks. If you guys like this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, click the subscribe button down below, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. I post Sundays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central Time. Before we get started, today's video is kindly sponsored by Temu. Temu is a great place to shop for literally anything you can imagine at great prices, and they have been so kind to gift my viewers with free products when you use their app. Yes, literally $0 products. I don't know about you guys, but I love free stuff. I love discounted stuff. I love a deal. All you have to do is access the app, type in my code KOB2884 into the search bar, and it'll pop up with this adorable welcome message, and then you can just literally scroll through all the products and pick 1 to 3 free items of your choice. Personally, I think I'm going to get these headphones because normal headphones just don't stay in my ear. I think this will really help keep them in place. Oh, I love this hand. I wear a lot of jewelry, so I think that'll be really cute to have a jewelry display back here. It's perfectly spooky. And I love, love, love this sun catcher. So I think we'll go with that one. If you guys love free stuff as much as I do, you do not want to miss this deal. Their app slogan is literally shop like a billionaire because you can get so much stuff for so little. Again, all you have to do is type in my code KOB2884 into the search bar and you'll see all of the free products you can choose from. You can also click the link down below in the description to access that, and you can get in on this opportunity for yourself. So thank you so much to Temu for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel. Now, without further ado, let's get right on into the video. Our first TikToks with user Courtney Loco Wellness.
Hey y'all, paranormal glitch in the Matrix story time. Now y'all loved my other glitch in the Matrix story so much that I'm gonna go ahead and do this one. It was pretty recent anyways. So this took place about a year ago, and here are the exact earrings that this happened with, right? So I was getting ready to go to a swim meet with both of my daughters. Now I had already put my clothes on. I had already put my hair up. Note that my hair was up, so there's nothing to get tangled, right? Now the last thing I always do as part of getting ready is put my earrings in. Now I want you to also note that I've had these earrings for about 6 or 7 years now, at least at a minimum. And I love them so much that I really wanted to get secure backs for them. So I got these when I got the earrings. Now, note that the backs here are, girls, you're going to know what I'm talking about, are the metal things like this that you can push these little curls in and it makes it tighter. So it's that plus a little gummy thing around it. So it's super secure. It's a double duty, right? Because I need those for my beloved earrings. I wear these almost every single day, and I have for about 6 or 7 years. So I'm getting ready, right? I put these in. Let me show you how I put my earrings in. I do this the same exact way every time. I have for years and years and years. I can't ever remember not doing this because I want to make sure my earrings don't fall out, right? So I put my stud in, right? Make sure it goes in the hole. I flip it around. Make sure it's actually in the hole, right? And then I put my back on. I squeeze it on, and I flip that over too to make sure it's in my ear, it's secure, it's on there. And I give it a little tug, right? Not going anywhere. Cool. Did the same thing to the other side, right? And then, boom, it's in. Walk out the door. Get my kids, we go to the natatorium, right? The indoor swimming pool. And when we get there, we see some friends. We're standing talking to them. And I feel something hit my shoulder and hear something fall on the floor. Just like a small, So I look down and there's an earring that looks just like mine. And I'm like, So I bend down and pick it up. And I was shocked. My first thought was, I have a gaping hole in my ear, because that was the only, as irrational as it was, that was the only thing that made sense, because I was so sure that I knew what I did. My earring was not going to fall out, right? Let me show you what I picked up off of the floor. Okay? I picked this up off the floor. So, right, my first thought was, I have a gaping hole in my ear. Then I think, or I have a third earring. Like, somebody else, no. And then I feel my ear, and there's not an earring there. So, how did I go from this being in my ear, totally secure, to it coming out of my ear and reassembling itself, right? It's kind of hard to push on. And then me picking it up like this. My husband and I still cannot agree on this. Like, to this day, you know, I spent that whole swim meet, like, flabbergasted, shocked. I could not let this go. I'm like, how does this happen? How does it happen? Realistically, nothing can explain this, right? And my husband was like, well, obviously you didn't put it on well enough. It was just, you know, hanging on by like this right here. The post didn't actually go in your ear hole. And I'm like, but it did. I checked this one and I checked this one, right? This is the left one is the one it happened in. I flipped it over to see that I would have been able to see, y'all, if the post was down here, because it would not have survived this flip. It would have come off this way, because I've done that before. And no, it was in my ear and it survived the flip, not once but twice, right? So no, that's not an explanation. So what is? There was not a gaping hole in my ear. Nothing from the time I left the house to the time I got to the natatorium touched my ear. My hair was up. My purse didn't hit it. Nothing hit my face or my ear. This one still puzzles me, right? Just because I'm a medium and I do this professionally doesn't mean I have all the answers. But I want to know what you think, because this one's a doozy and I still think about it to this day. Nothing like this has happened since, in the year since. Nothing happened before this happened a year ago. But yeah, what do you think about this? I don't know. Has anything like this ever happened to you? Hope you like this one. Love you, bye.
Okay, I will say that's a lot of dedication to like put your earrings in and make sure they're secure. I don't think I have ever put that much effort into making sure my earrings were actually in my ears. You know, I usually just snap them in place and assume they're good to go. So I'm impressed with that kind of dedication. But it's fascinating to me that with how much effort she puts into making sure her earrings are on her ears and secure, that this happens. I mean, her husband like made a good point about the like it could be clipped in but not in the hole, although I feel like that's kind of hard to do, because it's like, at least me, when I put my earring in, I put my earring in, it's through the hole and then I let go and then I do like putting it together and whatever. So unless she's like holding it here, like she thinks she puts it through and is like holding it here and then putting the backing on, it'd be so hard to just like get the bottom of your ear, if that makes sense. Aside from the fact that the point she makes, I feel like directly invalidates that entire theory, because if she's doing this like flipping thing and she says she does it twice to make sure that it's on there, again, that's dedication. I've never put that much effort into making sure my earrings are secure. But if she did that, like, yeah, if it's just hanging on down here, there's no way it wouldn't have just like flown off, or like she would have pulled it off when she's like flipping her ear. So I don't know how that happened and how that's possible. Yeah, I don't know how that could have happened. Our next TikTok's with user ScareShareSX.
Okay, where is this car that's reflecting on this Boston Pizza window? It's a Corvette C8. I seriously don't see that car anywhere. Where's that car? What? Where is that car? Hello, where's that car? Where is this car?
Is this video proof of a glitch in the Matrix? Watch what happens when he goes back to the pizza place to check it out.
At the same parking lot, because one of the main comments you guys were saying is go walk up to it. The car is either inside of the pizza parlor or it's a wrap on the window. I don't know. Let's check it out. So I'm walking to it right now. If you look at it actually from this point of view, the reflections look kind of accurate. There's a place, there's a white car reflecting, that's right here. And no, there's like no car in there.
Let us know what you think happened in the comments. And make sure to follow Skillshare.
When I first saw this, I thought it was going to be one of those weird things where it's kind of like people trying to make it seem like it's a glitch in the Matrix, and it's like, okay, well, it obviously could just be off camera. But he showed a decent amount of that parking lot, and I feel like with how close, like, the distance that the car would have to be to reflect the way it is, he showed enough of that parking lot that if the car was there, the car would have had to have been in that section of the parking lot. I don't know where on earth this car could be reflecting from. Our next TikTok's by the user Raw and Untamed, and I was tagged in this one numerous times, so I absolutely had to include this.
I just experienced one of the craziest technology glitches that I have ever heard of. This is a vibration plate. You stand on it and it vibrates and it has Bluetooth. I wake up at 1 a.m. to this thing saying Bluetooth device connected, and I look at my phone. My Bluetooth is not on, so I don't know who's connected to it, but I was like, yeah, sometimes random people can connect to your device. That's normal. But what I heard was not normal. This was not music. This was not a phone call. I heard two people talking to each other in the same room next to their phone. Like, I could tell that this wasn't a phone call, and the phone was sitting down and they were talking, and I could hear them both through their phone as background sound. Like, how is that possible through Bluetooth? Like, this shit is so creepy. I'm gonna try to get a video of it, but I'm telling you, I don't understand how this is possible. See, you can hear the people.
I hate bitches like this. Take my way back.
See? There's multiple people having a conversation and I'm hearing it through their phone. This isn't a phone call. How is that possible, you guys? Like, this is a serious glitch.
This is absolutely terrifying. I mean, like, we all know technology listens to us. Like, all of our devices are listening to us at all times. Technology's creepy. Like, we have no privacy anymore. Even if we don't have devices, there's just so many around that unless you live in the middle of the woods with no devices whatsoever, you don't have privacy anymore. Like, unfortunately, that's just like the way it is these days. But it's absolutely terrifying that somehow your phone can just randomly decide to connect to someone else's device, like without you going and like inputting to connect to a device. It connects to someone else's device and then somehow is broadcasting your conversations through a speaker into someone else's apartment without you having any idea. That is so scary. I mean, it could be like some kind of glitch in the Matrix. It could be a technology glitch. It could be a little bit of both. I mean, I don't understand why this could just happen. Like, the technology would have to be actually functioning with a mind of its own without you doing anything, which is pretty terrifying. Or it could be a glitch in the Matrix. I really have no idea, but this is horrifying. Our next TikTok's with the user Prayer Warrior Hannah.
The longer that I'm on this earth, the more that I believe that we do live in a simulation. Now, I don't know what it means in terms to the Bible. I don't understand that, and that'll definitely be something I ask God when I get to heaven. But for now, all I know is that glitches in the Matrix happen to me pretty much on a daily basis. I just moved back in with my parents a couple years ago, and my mom is a firm believer that there's no such thing as a glitch in the Matrix, or like, you know, the word that I use for like extreme extreme coincidences. And every time, I would say it without fail, like every time it would happen to me, and it was several times a week. And she would always just be like, Hannah, like, stop saying that. Like, that's not biblical. And I'm like, okay, but what does this mean then? Then she started seeing it. Then she started getting glitches in the Matrix, and she started texting me when they would happen, okay? So let me tell you about the most insane glitch in the Matrix I think has ever happened to me. One of the most memorable. So there is this movie that came out, and it was called Nefarious. Now, when this came out, I really wanted to go see it because it was supposed to be like kind of a thriller, but like for Christians, and it basically was supposed to give the message of like, hey, we need to be praying more. This is what the demonic realm is really about. Now, it wasn't like graphic or anything to my knowledge, but then I got there, and the very ending of the movie was absolutely traumatizing. I had my eyes closed the whole time. Whoever made that movie, don't advertise it as a freaking Christian thriller. Are you stupid? No Christian especially should be intaking that kind of crap into their soul. Like, we have gates. Read the freaking Bible. That pissed me off when I started to see the end and saw what that was. I'm like, no, bro, that's freaking stupid. Like, literally the creator of the movie, sorry, I'm on a tangent. He straight up said on a podcast, every Christian should see this movie. And so I thought, oh yeah, like, let's go. I love movies that keep you on the edge of your seat. And then at the very end, it was just like, oh, wow, I hope you repent for saying that. Anyway, here's where the crazy part comes in. Keep in mind, I have never heard the word, nor knew what the word nefarious meant. Never heard it in my life. And if I did, I was unaware because I don't know the word, okay? That night, we watched a movie. We get out of the movie 11:30 p.m. I am on my way home. It's just me in the car, okay? And I get pulled over by a cop as I'm like turning into my neighborhood. I'm like, what the freak? And he's like, hey girl, it looks like you don't have your lights on. And I'm like, oh, oops. So I turn my lights on. I'm like, so sorry about that. And he was a really nice cop. He was like, I just want to make sure you're okay. Like, you're driving fine. It's just like your lights aren't on. I'm like, yeah, sorry, ADHD. I forget. Anyway, he goes, I'm going to let you off with a little warning because I know you're not trying to be nefarious or anything. When I tell you, the chills down my spine. Bro, he's a paid actor. The chills down my spine that I got when he said that. I literally, like, audibly gasped. And he's like, I'm sorry, like, is everything okay? And I'm like, do you have 30 seconds? Like, I have to tell you the significance of what, like, I get out of the movie directly after the movie. And this wasn't, I feel like it would have been a little bit less shocking if I was like in a store after or like in public after and I like overheard someone use the word in the conversation. But no, a cop pulled me up, like literally it came to me. The glitch came to me. Crazy.
Our next two TikToks are by the user Ashley Ing.
When I was 9, my mother took me to live with a woman who later disappeared under strange circumstances. She had a pattern of strange behavior, and later we found out that her name that she used was not her real name at all. This is Beth's submission to Spooky Scary Storytime, and she says that she and her mother talked about this for years after the fact. This story takes place in the 1980s. Assume that the witness protection program was a real possibility, and so for that reason, she's decided to change her name for this story. But she says that there were other elements to the story that make her think that something more was going on. When Beth was 9, her mother, Linda, worked basically as a research assistant at a university, and the family lived in a university town. It basically did support for graduate students and the professors who worked at this university, and it was tied to a physics program. Beth's father was not a good man by any means, and he was always having problems with Linda. And so one night after a particularly bad fight, she decided she was going to pack up Beth and they were going to leave. And Linda spent a few weeks basically couch surfing and bouncing around motels, but Linda wasn't making a lot of money. She was a single mom, and that's when her coworker stepped in. And for this story, Beth calls her coworker Dr. Evelyn. That's not her real name. Dr. Evelyn was probably in her like late 50s, early 60s at the time, and she was in a senior research position at the university lab. Dr. Dr. Evelyn had no family of her own. She was essentially married to her work, but seemed to have a soft spot for Linda, knowing that she was struggling as a single mother to take care of Beth. And so I guess out of the kindness of her heart, offered Linda and Beth to stay at her house temporarily while they got on their feet. I was reluctant to take the help, but she didn't really have any other options, and so they ended up moving in with Dr. Evelyn. And Beth remembers Dr. Evelyn as being very soft-spoken, and though she didn't really seem to care too much for children, she always was kind to Beth. Linda and Beth moved into her large old house on the edge of the university town, and Beth remembers it as being sort of cold because Dr. Evelyn wasn't really there as it was. She was always buried in her work. Beth says she remembers that there were blackout curtains in every room. There were no mirrors besides the one on the small medicine cabinet in the bathroom, and the clocks were all set to different times. The house also had this weird smell that was like heated pennies, something metallic. Beth and her mother lived with Dr. Evelyn for 2 years, and in those 2 years, Beth gave me a number of experiences that seemed to hint that Dr. Evelyn was struggling maybe with some issues, but basically the cliff notes are that she always wore gloves inside the house. She never ate any food. Sometimes they would leave food in the fridge and it would expire weeks later without being touched. She only drank hot water. She was visibly uncomfortable around cats and dogs, and she never seemed to blink enough. She was extremely thin, and she avoided direct sunlight. She would leave for work very early in the morning and come home after the sun had already gone down. She would get irritated with Beth and Linda if they opened the curtains. She did not seem to sleep. At night, Beth would often fall asleep hearing her on late night phone calls in which she seemed to speak in code. And in code, it doesn't mean like another language. I just mean she said that she spoke in numbers. She would just rattle off numbers on the phone. Almost like she was reading a script. But Beth says that she couldn't make sense of the numbers at the time. It didn't seem like they were following any sort of pattern that she knew of. And so anytime she brought this up to her mother would say, "Don't be rude. Don't ever say those things to her. She's so kind letting us stay here, and she's kind to you." And that was true. She was kind to Beth. When she was home at night, sometimes she would help her with her homework or she would buy her books. At times when Linda was struggling with money, she would even give the family money for groceries or other things that they might need for Beth to go to school, and she never asked for any of it to be repaid. Later, after Beth was an adult and would talk about this with Linda, Linda just said at the time she assumed that Dr. Evelyn was ill and that she had issues with food, maybe diagnosed or otherwise, or that she had issues with germs, but at the time it just didn't seem right to ask her about it. They were living in her house rent-free and she was kind to them. After 2 years of living with Dr. Evelyn, one night Beth was home with Linda, and Linda got a call from the hospital because Dr. Evelyn had left the university and been struck by another car, and she was in the hospital. She had listed Linda as the emergency contact. Linda was told that she had several broken ribs and a concussion, and when she got to the hospital, a nurse casually mentioned to her that blood samples had already been sent to a lab. That's when Dr. Evelyn panicked. So after the nurse walked out of the room, she apparently grabbed Linda's wrist and she said, "They took my blood. How much did they take? Did they already send it away?" Linda tried calming her down, but she apparently was panicking, and this was more emotion than Linda had ever seen her express. And she said, "You have to get me out of here tonight." I didn't know this part at the time, but this was explained to her years later by her mother. And basically Linda told her that Dr. Evelyn explained that she worked on classified federal projects and that her blood samples could trigger security protocols. At the time, Linda assumed that Dr. Evelyn was paranoid or maybe had some undiagnosed mental illness, but then bizarre things started happening around the hospital. 2 men in suits showed up outside of her room and didn't speak to anyone. The nurses suddenly got cold and stopped answering Linda's questions. There was also some confusion about Dr. Evelyn's identity because they couldn't locate any of her vital records. I guess there was a lot, but Beth says that the details of this are hazy. Essentially, Dr. Evelyn convinced Linda to help her leave. And the way that they did this was, I guess, because the hospital was understaffed and still using paper records. But the way that Linda said that they did this was that Dr. Evelyn took the IV out herself, changed into a set of Linda's spare clothes that she had in her car, and then Linda wheeled her out during shift change while a janitor blocked part of the hallway with a janitor cart. Linda later told Beth that nobody even tried to stop them. Back at the house where Beth was, she remembers them getting back and Dr. Evelyn getting increasingly paranoid as the night went on. She was constantly looking outside, checking the windows, checking the doors. She unplugged all of the TVs and the radios in the house, tore apart the kitchen looking for metallic objects, and then came into Beth's room and asked her if she had any metallic objects that Dr. Evelyn didn't know about. Beth said, "I don't think so." And then Dr. Evelyn looked her in the eye and said, "Have you ever felt sick after touching me?" Beth said, "No, I don't think so." And then Dr. Evelyn said, "Okay, has anyone at your school ever asked who you live with? Have you ever mentioned me?" Beth said, "I don't think so. I just say that we live with my mom's friend." And that night she went to bed, but woke up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. And as she walked back to her bed, remembers looking outside through the window and seeing Dr. Evelyn standing in the yard staring at the sky. Next morning, Dr. Evelyn was gone. There was no note, her car was gone, and only her office had been completely emptied out. Other than that, there didn't seem to be any clothes missing, but they did notice that near the electrical outlets were faint burn marks on the walls. Linda went to work that day and obviously contacted the university asking about Dr. Evelyn's whereabouts because she was concerned for her, and her supervisor just told her that Dr. Evelyn had been reassigned. The university was not concerned about her being missing, but she never returned. But after that, strange men started showing up at the house. First, they just seemed to be poking around outside, and Linda assumed that they were tied to the property ownership or the landlords or something because they wore dark suits, but not uniforms. But then they rang the doorbell and Linda answered. Asked Linda if she had any idea of what happened to Dr. Evelyn. She was like, no. But then they started asking questions about Beth. They were like, has she reported any strange illnesses? And one of the men asked Beth directly, did Dr. Evelyn ever tell you anything about her work when your mother wasn't around? And Beth remembers feeling terrified. She was 11 years old. She didn't know what was going on. And she just said that she didn't really know how to answer their question. She didn't remember anything super strange, but she did remember that one night Dr. Evelyn had tucked her into bed and told her that you are more resilient than expected. And she wasn't sure what that meant at the time. The kicker is they eventually found out that Dr. Evelyn was not her real name at all. She never owned the house. The property actually belonged to a deceased couple, and the taxes had been paid through shell companies for years. Eventually, the legal representatives of the estate forced Linda and Beth to move out, and they ended up staying at another motel before finally getting on their feet. But what ended up unsettling Linda the most was she poked around at the university and found out that there were no records of Dr. Evelyn working there. When she asked her supervisors about it, they told her to stop putting her nose where it didn't belong, essentially. After that, Linda remained terrified for years. Beth remembers her panicking anytime there was a car that she didn't recognize parked outside of their apartment. And about 2 years after all of this went down, when there had been zero contact with Dr. Evelyn, they received a letter in their mailbox, and there was no sender addressed to Linda and Beth, and inside was just a plain white index card that said, I'm sorry they know about you now. Please do not sign up for any medical studies in the future. That I don't know if that was Dr. Evelyn, but I mean, who else could it have been? But what makes her think it wasn't Dr. Evelyn was they had moved, and they hadn't had any contact with Dr. Evelyn, so it wasn't like she would have known where they were living. Beth says she and her mother talked about this until her mother sadly passed a few years ago. And she's sharing this now to see what everyone else thinks. She says it's been something like 40 years since this all happened. And though nothing strange has ever happened in her life that points to this being a continuing mystery, she's still curious. What was Dr. Evelyn's deal? Fortunately, she has shared all that she knows about the program they were working in, as her mother is no longer with us. So let her know your thoughts. She'll be seeing the comments even though everyone's name has been changed. And if you have a story you think nobody would believe, send it in. We would love to hear it. Brooke sent me a message and she said, I either saw something I wasn't supposed to see or experienced a glitch in the Matrix moment. I'm not sure. I've never been able to make sense of this. And after reading her message, I'm curious too. So I'm thinking maybe there's a police officer or a sheriff out there who may be able to weigh in and explain what was going on here. But Brooke said this happened in Lakeside City, which is a small town in Texas. And at the time she was making deliveries on a food delivery app for extra money. And on this particular day, she had her husband and her 2-year-old daughter with her. Their final delivery for the day. She said she pulled into a gas station, filled up the pump, and as she was sitting there waiting for the gas tank to fill up, she was on her phone transferring funds from one account to another. And all of a sudden, her husband looks at her and he's got this horrible look on his face and he goes, look right there. And he motions to the pump right next to them, and they see on the ground, laying on the cement, is this lifeless man. And she goes, oh my gosh, what happened? Because that man was not there when they pulled in a few minutes earlier. There's no other cars at the pumps, nothing going on. And basically, as soon as they see this man, this sheriff jumps up in their window and he goes, what are you guys doing here? Put your hands up. Their hands raised. She said that they told him that they were just delivering for an app and getting gas, and she was just sitting in her car transferring funds, but that they had no idea what was going on. And also she said they looked around and they didn't see any police cars or anything to indicate that there was a police presence in the area, but this man was wearing sheriff attire from head to toe. Well, you guys need to get out of here right now. And she says obviously they listened to him. They were freaked out, so they pulled out of the pump and they were driving around and they were trying to figure out what happened. They're like, maybe it was a robbery gone wrong. So she said after a little while they drove by, but they didn't see any type of police presence in the area. The man was gone, the sheriff was gone. Nothing to indicate that anything had happened, and not that much time had passed. So they go home, and she said the next morning she was still curious. So she gets online and she starts looking up if there's any robberies in the area, who's on crime, anything that would explain what she and her husband saw the day before. But she said she couldn't find anything. She even checked social media pages. Couldn't find a thing. But her husband's curious about it too, and he actually had a friend that was a sheriff on the local sheriff's department. So he's like, I'm gonna call my friend and see if he'll tell me what was going on. So he calls his friend, explains what happened, and his friend's like, nothing like that happened in the area. I would know about it. She's like, we're being gaslit. So she calls the gas station and she's like, hey, I was there, yesterday. I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. I saw the man in the parking lot who was lifeless. And the person who worked at the gas station was like, that didn't happen yesterday. was like, I was here all day yesterday. I didn't see anything like that. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you sure you have the right gas station? And Brooke said she felt completely gaslit, still has no idea what happened. She has Googled many times to no avail. That it's a small enough town that she thought that eventually if she asked around enough, somebody would know what happened, but nobody has any idea of this happening in that town. So she says, am I crazy for thinking it's a glitch in the Matrix, or what do your followers think? I don't know your thoughts. I know this one was short. I'm going to post another one in a little bit.
Okay, the first one is the one that puzzles me the most. Do we think this is a glitch in the Matrix, or do we think it's like some secret government work or something like that? I don't know. I wonder if maybe it's like some secret government work into stuff like this, and they made her disappear. Either that, or it's like she was in a weird timeline, like the wrong timeline, and she's like hiding out or something. I don't know. I feel like that makes me sound really crazy, like I'm really reaching here, but I'm just so baffled as to what this whole situation was. Our next TikTok's with user Spellbound Beauty MUA.
So I wanted to talk about a glitch in the Matrix, if you will. My husband and I watched Deja Vu with Denzel Washington, which is a fabulous fucking movie if you haven't seen it. Yeah, I definitely highly recommend it. Like, it is such a good movie. I don't even know how to explain it. Just go watch it. Go watch the trailer. See if it's something you're into. If you like weird alternate universes, that kind of thing, you'll love this one if you haven't seen it. Anyways, so it reminded me of a time where I swear to God, I swear there was a glitch in the Matrix, and my family and I experienced that. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you I am not good with dates. I can find those later if you really want to know, but let me just kind of give you an idea of what happened. So my family, so picture it, we're all in a van, we're traveling, we are going to Colorado, I believe is where we were traveling, and we were all so hungry. We had not stopped for a really long time. The only thing we had been eating was like chips and soda, and you know, after a moment of time that gets so old, snacks isn't cutting it. We needed like some beef, and we needed some veggies, and like just not being in the car, you know. So we randomly come upon this really nice little looking restaurant, kind of like a mom and pop style. It didn't look like it was fast food, so that's what we wanted. So we go ahead and just like park. There's really nothing else around there. You're starting to see mountains, I believe. And sisters, correct me if I'm wrong. Whatever you remember, like comment for me, because this is like beyond ridiculous, and I love sharing this story. But anyway, so there's 7 of us. One whom is in a wheelchair. So that my brother-in-law, and so when we get in, we like always, we tell them how many we need table for, and we tell them we have one in a wheelchair, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. When we first walked in, though, it was kind of quiet and kind of like not a lot of people in there, but so the hostess takes us, starts traveling with us, and tells us to, like, whoever's going to go with my brother-in-law to get in to go with him. So me and my sister, his wife, my sister, go with him, and then the other family goes with her, if that makes sense. So we go around the back pretty much, because we're going downstairs, which again, and now thinking about it, like, that's weird too. It was almost like a basement style. So they went downstairs, we went around with my brother-in-law, and went downstairs with him, and they had one of those like things that carries him down because he is in a wheelchair. So we just took his wheelchair for him, and it just, like, you know. So we're downstairs. Me, my sister, and him are walking past a few doors, which, again, thinking about it, why are there so many rooms in a restaurant like this? Anyways, that's not as important. But we start walking past this one room, and you can hear like ha ha ha, like camaraderie, laughter, talking, and we look in, and it's, first of all, it looks like we just stepped into a different time, right? And whenever we went in, we didn't go in there, but when we were passing, we see, to me, what I recall is one side, it's a bunch of guys, men, dressed very nice. They all have like cigars, and they all have like, I'm assuming, whiskey or bourbon in a glass, and they're all just kind of laughing and gulling about it, playing a game like poker or something. And then all the women are on the other side of the room, lollygagging, laughing, whatever they're doing, also drinking, also smoking, but like cigarettes. And because it was just such a visual, you know, not normal by any means for my time at least. And they're all very dressed to the nines too, like super cute, older, middle age kind of women. Just really it was so weird, but they all looked fabulous, right? Past that door. And we were like, okay, whatever, cool. It looked like the mafia. It looked like fucking the mafia. Anyway, so we get seated, and we're by like a bar, and there's a long table for us. We sit down. Everything is really nice. The music is like, I can vaguely remember like horns and like almost like a jazzy type music, but very subtle, very quiet. It was very calming. Everything we needed from that stop was being given to us, like hardcore, right? So whenever we were sitting there trying to figure out what the heck we wanted to eat, they had the menu. I can't recall what it looked like, but I remember there was like a few things on the menu, nothing huge, no Cheesecake Factory, thank God. But we got our drinks, sodas and water. But anyway, so I order, and let me tell you, I never order this anywhere I go, because why would I? But it was roast beef. Who orders roast beef? For me, it's not a thing. You can ask all my family, if I'm ordering a piece of meat, I'm gonna get steak. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna order roast beef or I don't know, something I can just easily make at home, if that makes sense. If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna order something that I don't normally just make all the time or whatever. Anyway, so when I say I have never in my life tasted again since that type of meal, it was it was such a beautiful experience. It was beyond like explanation. It was so soft. It was so juicy. It was I'm melting inside thinking about it. It was so fucking good. My sister got it too. Vanessa, oh my god, like we were in love. You should have seen our faces. We were just like just freaking in ecstasy eating that food. Everything was so good, but that particular roast beef, like I can remember it right now, and I have never tasted anything like that before. It had to have like some kind of it was like loaded with salt. I don't know, something that I really like. I have no idea. I love salt, by the way, and butter. Something. Anyways, drugs. I don't know, but it was so delicious. I cannot explain how much I would die. I would like that would be my last meal, whatever they call it. Absolutely, if I could find it. When I say we just had the most amazing meal, all of us collectively enjoyed it to the max. We took pictures. We were taking pictures of our food. We took pictures outside so we could remember it because it was so stinking good. We take pictures outside beforehand most time because we're those tourists. But anyway, so whenever we were done, we paid like normal. Again, me and my sister and my brother-in-law passed that room. It's just like we're in a different time. I swear to God. It just looked like I stepped into a casino or some Robert De Niro and Al Pacino film from back in the day. You know what I mean? It was so wild. What a weird experience, like feeling. It was almost like a wom wom wom. Now that I think about it, I was just so happy. We were just good. We were so happy. It was such a good meal, and everything was so good. I don't even know how to explain it. Anyways, so we pass again. We see that in action again. He gets on the thing to go up the stairs. We walk up the stairs. We take his seat, and we get in our car. We took pictures again. We were just like, we were all yapping and talking about how amazing that was. We get in our car. We go. The entire trip, we talk non-stop about that food, about that trip, or about that restaurant, and we were like, okay, we're gonna go back. Like on our way back, we can go back next time we come, because we went to Colorado every so often. So it was like, yeah, we could do that again, and we're gonna make it happen because it was so stinking good. Trip's over, come home. A few weeks pass, we get together again, and I remember talking about it, and we just started talking about how, like, all of those feelings of how amazing and it was so good, yada yada. Okay, when I say this is where the real weird happens. We were like, hey, what was it called? And we all kind of look at each other, and we don't remember. I don't remember. I couldn't tell you what the first letter of that restaurant was called. Then we were like, okay, well, it doesn't matter because we can go look at our pictures. I swear to God, every picture we had, all of us took pictures on our cameras because we didn't have phones that took pictures yet. So all of our digital cameras have no pictures. We have all of our other trip pictures, but all those that we took at that restaurant of our food, gone. I couldn't tell you what happened. I don't know. I am so mad. So then we get on the internet. We start researching where we went, like all this stuff. We cannot find this place. I remember green. I remember the outside of the building. It was like a brick of some sort. I don't remember that color, but I remember the top of it was greenish. And when you went inside, it looked like it gave you like an old grandma's home feeling, but also bar / I don't know. It was so weird. And I can't tell you how much I wish I knew where that place was. But I swear to God, we cannot find it. We don't know where it was anymore. We don't know what it was called. We don't have pictures. We don't have nothing. And our memories do not recall anything of where it really truly was. I'm at a loss for words on this one. If you know what I'm talking about and you see this and you're like, oh my God, I just burnt down, I'm gonna freaking die laughing at myself. But please tell me, because I would die to get that freaking roast beef recipe. Like, when I say that was so good, what I would do, men would fall so I could get it. I'm telling you, man. But anyways, yeah, I don't know where that place is. It was like we stepped into this, like, we went into something that wasn't in our time, because like those people did not even look at us. They didn't acknowledge us. The only person that talked to us was the hostess. Were we being punked? I don't know. It's so weird. It's such a weird feeling. But I think it was a glitch in the Matrix. Yeah. Was I abducted by aliens? I don't know. God, help me. Anyways, I'll tell my sisters to comment their memories of this. But yeah, this is how I remembered it. So, if you have any glitch of in the Matrixes, please tell me. I'll read them out loud to share with everybody if you don't want to. I love this kind of shit. So please share with me. I want to read it. If you want me to read it for you, I will read it for you. Whatever. Please give me all the things. Give them to me. Talk to you soon.
Our next TikTok's by the user Weeping Angel 81.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
So I'm the Marie of that story. Yep, it's me. And I had a few people that requested for me to post a video about my perspective, what happened and what I was feeling and things like that. So this is that video. It's gonna be a little bit of a long one, so I hope you stick around for it. Okay, so excuse the hot mess that I am. I'm in the middle of dyeing my hair, but I figured while I was waiting for it to do its thing, I would go ahead and do my thing. Okay, so as she says in the beginning, we were going to Florida for my uncle's funeral. He's like a grandfather to me, and it was me, my two younger brothers, my younger sister, and my brother's wife, my sister-in-law, Letitia. And we all decided we're taking my car, I have the biggest SUV, we're all just going to go together, because at the time we all lived in the same state. So we all go down there. This is Friday night. We drive down there. Saturday, we do like the wake, the whole family thing, all that good stuff. Sunday morning was the actual like funeral where we actually buried him. And so, after the funeral, everybody goes to like, my aunt's house, and we're all going to have like lunch or whatever. We figure, well, we'll leave at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That way, we have like a 10-hour drive back home. That way, when we get home, it won't be too late, and we have to be at work on Monday, so all of us had to be at work. So we're like, okay, so we'll just, we'll leave about 2:00. But we were having so much fun being with our family members we haven't seen in a really long time and just sharing stories and having a good time that we didn't want to leave. So we decided that we were going to just stay a little bit later, and we ended up staying till like 5:00 in the afternoon, which means we were going to get home until like really, really late, which means I was going to go to work with like zero sleep on me. So we are driving. I'm doing the first part of the driving, and we're driving about 5 hours. So we were right outside of Tifton off 75 heading north, and it was probably a mile or two past the Tifton exits. And I'm like, I really, really gotta pee. I've been holding it and holding it and holding it. I'm like, I can't hold it any longer. We're gonna stop. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. They're like, yeah, we gotta pee too. Like, let's stop. We'll get some snacks. We'll go ahead and fill up. I got a half tank of gas. If you will, I'll go ahead and just fill up, and that'll get us all the way home. We won't have to stop again. So we get off this exit, and it's just this little no-name exit, dark exit or whatever, and we get off, and we're driving. And we're driving for like 15, 20 minutes or so. And like nothing. Like there's nothing on this road. It's a straight stretch of road. Okay? Nothing. Flat, no hills, nothing. Straight stretch of road. Tons and tons of trees on each side. No street lights. We didn't see any other cars. But I'm thinking, okay, it's like 8 o'clock at night on a Sunday. People are at home in bed already. They got to be at work on Monday like we do. So I didn't think anything at the time. I didn't think anything weird about it. So after a while, I see like the lights of a gas station. So I pull up, I jump out of the car, I run in the gas station, make my way to the bathroom, do my business, and I'm like, oh, finally. And I open the door, and my brothers and my sister-in-law are standing up there, and they're like looking at me. They're like they look scared. Like they look like really like scared. And I'm like, okay. Well, my sister pushes past me and runs to the bathroom. It's like a one-stall bathroom, like that's a one-toilet bathroom. And my brother looks at me, and he's kind of doing like the, like look, but he's not saying it. Like it's like almost like he's afraid to say anything. And I'm like, okay. So I look over, and that's when I see the gentleman behind the counter. So this guy, he is staring straight ahead. Like he's staring straight ahead. He's just like, no movement, no eye blinking, nothing. But it wasn't like he was looking at us. It was like he was looking like through us, like past us. But it was very weird. Like everything about him was like every bell and whistle, red flag was going off. Like, this isn't right. There is something wrong. And I remember just like this, just like my stomach like dropping. And I'm like, okay, like we're four Puerto Ricans and one Mexican kid. We're in the backwoods of southern Georgia. Like maybe he's a racist, or like, it was just something just felt off. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to ignore him. And my brother is just intently like staring at this man. And I'm like, okay, like, dude, like, stop looking at him. Like, just like, don't piss this guy off, please. So I start looking around the store, going through the aisles, like, I'll grab some, and that's when I start noticing like the environment we're in. And like, it was like really dimly lit, like the dim yellow fluorescent lights. Oh God, I'm getting like chills thinking about this. And it was just, the air was just thick. Like it just didn't feel right. And that's when I started like noticing like even the smells, like it smelled old and moldy, and it just was a very stale smell in the air. And that's when I noticed like the coolers like were like the cooler lights were like blinking off and on. And the glass was dirty and nasty. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna get a drink. Fuck that. So I start going down the aisles, and I'm like, there's brands of things I've never seen before. Just like really like old like brands I did know, but like old labels, like old labels. And everything was covered in dust. And I was like, this is not. And so, but at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this is weird. Like I'm starting to freak out at this point. And I didn't think to look at expiration dates or anything like that. Like that was like the last thing on my mind. So I go back over to my brother and sister-in-law were, and my sister comes out of the bathroom. I grab her hand, and all five of us just bolt to the car. Like
nope, we didn't buy anything. We didn't get gas. Like, we got in the car and we bolted. I peel out of this gas station, like rubber burning, like I'm getting out of here, and I'm going in the direction I know for a fact is the way we came. We made a left-hand turn into the gas station, so I made a right-hand turn out of the gas station to go back to the highway, so I know I was going in the right direction. So everybody's like, what was that? What was that? Like, everybody's freaking out. I'm thinking, okay, like, that was weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's a really old gas station. Like, I don't know. But, like, my brain is trying to come up with every logical explanation for what happened. Like, everything. And I just came like, this is just weird. So we're driving about 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, we should have been at the highway by now. Like, this is just, something's not right. And then all of a sudden we see gas station lights again. I see the same sign. And I'm like, what the hell? So I slow down and I'm looking out the window because the gas station's to my left. And I'm looking out my window, and the man is now looking out the window, and he's just staring. And again, it felt like he wasn't like looking at us. It was like he was looking through us, past us. I don't know how to explain it. It was really freaky. So my brother's like, what, go! So I hit the gas. We're flying down the road. Another 15, 20 minutes goes by. And I'm like, okay, like, what the hell? Like, I must have gone off of a fork or something, but there was no turns. There was no roads. This was a straight shot road. Like, there was nothing. So, and I'm like, so I'm being like extra careful, making sure like I don't make an accidental turn I didn't see. I'm going straight. My wheel is like, I don't turn it at all. So another 15, 20 minutes goes by. And like, I see the sign for the gas station, but this time it's turned off. So again, I'm like, okay, there's something. So I slow down, and that's when I realized that the gas station was the same gas station, but it was all boarded up, like ivy, and like half the roof was caved in, and it looked like it had been abandoned for like 20, 30 years at this point. And I remember thinking, like, at this point, I'm confused, I'm scared, I'm freaking out, zero cell phone service, no GPS on the phones back then, so we didn't have that. So I'm like, okay, like, this is just wrong on so many levels. So my brother starts freaking out. I hit the gas again, and within 3 to 5 minutes, we're back at the highway. I have no idea what happened. And my brother, who lives in Texas now, actually came to visit me a couple of days ago, and we were actually just talking about this. We talk about this frequently, and none of us know what happened. We were all scared out of our minds, and to this day, I still have not been able to find that gas station. I've looked for it, still can't find it, can't find the exit, no clue what happened. All I know is I was very, very scared.
This one is crazy. I've heard so many like gas station glitches, and they always blow my mind. I don't know what it is. Like, something about like abandoned gas stations like really pique my interest. But I knew what was coming as she's talking. I'm like, that gas station isn't actually functioning, is it? Like, you're gonna pass it again and you're gonna find out that it's abandoned, or like get home and realize that that gas station didn't exist. I knew what was coming, but I was still like locked in the whole time. But then there was the twist of them like having to like circle, but it wasn't really circling. It was like they just kept driving straight, and somehow we're still passing it. And it was still functioning at first, and then all of a sudden it was like not. I don't even know how to explain that. It's like somehow they were in like a time loop, and then the time loop brought them back to reality. It's like somehow they got off the highway and like went back in time to when it was like functioning. But like also the guy was like seeing through them. It's like, were they actually on the same timeline? Where somehow, was it like a mirage and they were able to see it like back in the day, but they were still in their correct timeline? I don't know. Either way, it was like they were in a time loop and they kept passing this thing, and then all of a sudden it shows up the way it should in their current timeline as abandoned. Wild. Like I said, I knew what was coming, but I was still so locked in. I just love stories like this. Our next 2 TikToks are with the user A. Marie Soul.
Okay, so apparently it is my turn to share a glitch in the Matrix, unfortunately. So these are my car keys, obviously, and on my car keys is this tattered old keychain. It used to be rainbowed. It used to be very cute. It used to have 5 strands instead of 4. You can see it's like tattered. A friend made this for me, and in the summer of 2024 before she moved away. She lives 3 hours away. I have not seen her since she left. Since then, I've had it on my keychain, and when I reach into my bag and pull my keys out, I can feel this. That is my tactile clue that those are my keys. And so I pull it out and said, do you want to tell me why? I reached into my bag and I felt my beaded keychain, and I pull out a keychain, but there's no keys because it's this fucking thing. What the fuck is this? Where did it come from? Okay, so let's investigate. Let's do a little bit more backstory. This friend gave it to me in a unique way because we also were colleagues at the time, and we were both quitting our jobs for different reasons within a week and a half of each other. And she had her last day before mine. So on her very last day, as she's leaving the employee parking lot for the last time, she ties on the door handle of my car the little keychain. Here's a picture of what it looked like then. And it's not like she gave me two. She gave me one because it was tied to the door handle. So there's that. This bag. This bag is a member's bag from the Chicago Art Institute. I got it when I renewed my membership this year, a couple of months ago. This bag did not exist when she was here. So she would have never had access to like put a second one in the bag or like, no, there's no way that she had access to this bag. Has she been back since and she's just fucking with me and like dropping one in there to be whimsy to say, hey, I'm back? No, because I only take this bag to work and home. And I just started this new job last week. And I haven't even told very many people that I started a new job, let alone where I work. So she wouldn't have had access to me to know where it is. And it's always on my person. So, no, she didn't do that. And it's oddly specific. Like the structure is exactly the same. Like the knots are the same, the bead sizes are the same, the like two hoops are the same. These knots are like very specific. So it's the same. Nobody made a dupe to fuck with me. Like nobody in my house would have, because I have young children, and if they had beads in the house, I would know it because they'd make a fucking mess. And like, no, I didn't do this because, you see how fucking small this is? See how fucking small that is? I have ADHD. I don't have that kind of ADHD. I have the hummingbird kind of ADHD that I cannot sit and focus on this. So, where the fuck did this come from? Make it make sense. Here's a quick update to my glitch video because it's still getting a lot of views and comments, and honestly I'm a little overstimulated, and so I'm hoping that this update will satiate some of your curiosity and also answer some of the most commonly asked questions. So, 1, yes, I have contacted my friend. 2, yes, she's okay. 3, no, she has no explanation for me. 4, she has also not had any glitches or weirdness to report. Essentially, she's just as confused as we are. Next, most of the comments that I'm getting are in the same vein of like, oh, but they're not exactly the same keychain. Like, yes, I know. The keychain used to be very colorful, but the paint wore off with day-to-day handling, sun exposure, tossing around in my bag. I posted photos zoomed in of the keychain that you can see scuffs of the paint still remaining. The second thing that people say, oh, it has 4 strands and not 5. Yes, I said in the video that one of them fell off because it's old. The other comment I keep getting is, but the beads aren't in the same order. By design, the beads are randomized. There's no pattern, so it kind of tracks that another one would also be randomized. I don't know, maybe another timeline she put them on in a different order. You can clearly see they were handcrafted by the same person with the same materials with the same color palette. So the fact that they are not in the same exact sequence for a randomized design is inconsequential to me. All I know is that I have 2 handcrafted items from the same person with no explanation. So you can believe me, you cannot believe me, I don't really care. I've already posted several side-by-side photos so that you can compare and contrast until your heart is content. Just go look in the top comments. I'm not posting anymore. Have fun. As for my bag, people keep asking if there was any way she could have access to my bag. Let me revisit this for a second. 1, we were work friends. We were not friends outside of work. She did not work in the same department. She was a driver. I worked in the admin office. So we didn't have a lot of access to each other, and we didn't have a lot of proximity. Anytime I was not in my office, my door was locked. Nobody had access to stuff. More importantly, about a week to a week and a half after she left, I packed up my entire office in boxes and brought it home and had to sort through it. So I would have found something when I packed it up. I didn't find anything. Also, like I said, the bag that I had was from the Art Institute, and it was brand new and it was empty. I put stuff in it, essentials for my new job that I just started. It was a folder of HR materials, my lunch, snacks, my Nalgene bottle, a brand new notebook, 2 pens, my headphones, my rain poncho, which if you're like, oh, what if it was in the pocket of your rain poncho? No, this is a lightweight rain poncho. It's ultra light for backpacking. I just got this last fall. It does not have stuff in the pockets because it is lightweight. This thing weighs as much as a trash bag, but is very strong. So, no, there was just nothing in my bag. If anyone thinks, well, she put it in your purse, I don't generally carry a purse. I typically have like a little coin purse that is on a carabiner on my pants buckle loop. So it's always on me and it's very small. This is what I'm currently carrying on a carabiner, but it was smaller before. It was thinner. It was just a little like badge pouch. And last but not least, these are currently my keys. You can see there is no keychain on there anymore because I was so weirded out by it. I didn't even want to look at it. It gave me the EBGBs. So I took it off and I took the glitch and I put the original and the glitch together, out of sight, out of mind, because I do not want to look at it. I love a good weird as much as the next weirdo, but this hit too close to home. So if you think you want your glitch, let me tell you, it's really unsettling and really eerie. It's rattled me. So I don't think you want the glitch. Anyway, I hope that this answered your questions. If not, please go rewatch the video or go look in the captions or go look at the top comments because I guarantee I probably already said it. Thanks for watching and keep sharing your weird stories because those are really interesting and also reassuring because it makes me feel less crazy. Thanks.
This reminds me of a story that we talked about in a previous Glitch in the Matrix video where it was like a knit hat and a knit scarf and then another knit hat popped up. And it was like custom made from her friend, but the friend never made the second hat and she never had a second hat until now. I love when it's like handmade objects gifted to you by someone and they duplicate because that's even crazier. It's like it's not a mass-produced item where maybe you could have bought another one without knowing. Maybe someone else like could have bought it for you and you didn't realize. It's like it's a handmade item. It's one of a kind and yet she's got another one. I mean, it's like this thing's old and decrepit because she's had it so long and is so well loved. And then all of a sudden another one pops up and it's like the brand new version. I mean, how do you explain that? Our next TikToks with user, Barnetti0621.
Crazy glitch in the Matrix happened to my daughter and I yesterday. So on May 16th, I took my kids to the Five Below Squishy Dumpling event. We've got our golden tickets here. There's my son, there's my daughter. Notice her face, how she's smiling, beautiful. I can't quite remember, but we were number 50 something for the three of us, like 57, 58, 59. As we're walking into Five Below, they have everything blocked off, so you have to basically like follow a track so you can get to the front to be able to buy what you're looking for. Well, we're like halfway up in the line. My daughter goes, "Oh my God, Mom, I dropped my sunglasses outside. I need to run outside and get them." Mind you, there's so many people here. I'm like, okay, go, but be quick because it's going to be our turn soon. So she runs outside and she comes back in 5 minutes later and she's like, "Mom, I can't find them. They're gone. I don't know where they are." And it's disappeared. And I remember being irritated. I had just gotten these sunglasses not even 2 weeks prior because both of them, because my son has this black pair and you can listen to music through them. And then this pair of like the beaded glasses also has speakers. Super cool. They both have them. We go about our business. We leave Five Below. She never finds her sunglasses. We've got our smushers. We've got our dumplings. We've got what we came there for. Now, today is June 14th. Yesterday was June 13th. And I told my daughter and my son, I was like, hey, I'm going to go outside to our storage unit. I'm going to clean this out. We have a bunch of stuff here we need to get rid of. My daughter wanted me to see if I could find her like little fake baby car seat because she wanted to take her baby with to the beach. This thing is packed. We've got scooters, hoverboards, bikes. We've got like 3 Christmas trees. We've got boxes of baby clothes. So much stuff. So like I'm moving stuff out of the way and I like see something on the ground and I look in the middle of our storage unit, which is blocked by everything. And I look back there and these are laying on the side of our storage unit. These are the same glasses she's wearing that she lost at Five Below on May 16th that we never got back. Genuinely have no words. Where did it come from? I have no idea. How did it get there? I don't know. They found their way back to us in our storage unit randomly. I asked my daughter, I was like, are you sure? Like, you didn't find them when we were at Five Below again? And she's like, no, I couldn't find them. They were gone.
This gives like magic trick. It's like the sunglasses end up in like a locked storage unit. How could they have gotten there? I don't know how else they could have gotten there other than a glitch in the matrix. I mean, maybe it's like divine intervention because the universe knew that she'd be disappointed if these sunglasses were gone forever. So like they disappeared because she lost them, she forgot them, but the universe like snatched them up and placed them in the storage unit where it knew that they'd be found. Our next TikTok's by the user RNDM_ACC01.
You know how you hear about those glitch in the matrix stories? Well, guess what? I actually have one that actually happened to me. So check it out. I have this necklace. I bought it on Amazon. You can see right here in the end, it tangles, it gets caught in my hair, yada yada. So this is the necklace that it came with, right? There's two, so they're kind of like layering necklaces. This one's the longer one. Well, I wear them all the time. I bought it last May on Amazon, as I said. Real cheap, real inexpensive, but it kind of just makes outfits look a little bit more put together. I wear it all the time. So last month, my husband and I went on a trip, right? We go to New England and I go to visit my mom. I'm wearing this necklace and I'm wearing the other necklace. I wear it on the plane. We go to a restaurant after. We do a bunch of stuff. We go out for ice cream after. Great. I go that night. I'm talking to my mom. I'm real tired from flying. I'm sitting on the floor of her closet. She's got like a big closet room, and I take off the necklace and I'm like, I really need to go to sleep. But you know what happens? Like us girls, like we're just talking, right? Take the necklace off. I think I have it with me. I go to bed. The next morning it's gone. I can't find it anywhere. My mom and I start looking. My husband and I start looking. I'm looking in the suitcase. I'm looking in our carry-ons. I check every single pocket. I want to say there's 3 or 4 pockets in my carry-on. It's a small little bag like that. So I check all the pockets. I empty the thing out. I do not find my necklace. Okay? So the rest of the trip, I'm not wearing this necklace, and I feel sad because this necklace goes with everything that I brought. Like, it just makes my outfits look more put together. With this other one, this is the layering one, it's just too long. It just looks weird, right? So I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm a little bit mad. Okay, I'm mad at myself because I'm like, what the heck did I do with this? I'm always losing things, right? My mom feels bad. She goes and she decides to look on Amazon because I told her what it looked like. I showed her the screenshot, but the listing is no longer available. So she goes and she finds another necklace that looks almost exactly the same. So this is the skinny version of that other necklace, right? The layering necklace. And this is the one that my mom got me as a replacement for the other one. You can see that this isn't tangled. Not really. Like, it kind of looks tangled, but it's because I have a bunch of little hair that gets stuck from the back of my head on here, right? Okay, so anyway, you can clearly see that these two are not the same. This one is more rose gold. This is the replacement one that my mom bought me. And this is a little bit more yellow gold. Regardless, you can see that there's these two, right? But this one goes missing. So I'm wearing this one for the rest of the trip. The rest of the trip goes awesome. New England is beautiful. It's just real fun, right? So I wear this one home on the plane. This is the replacement one again. We'll call this necklace B. The first one that's missing is necklace A, right? So I get home. The first thing I do is I start emptying the suitcases. I empty the suitcases. I'm like, man, I've got to see if I've got to have it, right? Because my mom and I looked everywhere. It's not in her house. So I was like, I've got to have it with me. It's got to be in some pocket or something. So I look, not in the suitcase. I check all the folded clothes, and it's not there, right? I open my carry-on, and in the little back pocket, I find it. Even though I looked there like 50 times, I emptied out the little backpack, the little carry-on, is there. What the heck? So, okay, so great. I now have 2 necklaces again. That's awesome. I go about my life. I forget all about it. Technically, I have 4 necklaces because I have the 2 skinny necklaces. So then this morning comes, and like I said, I've forgotten about this. This is like a month later. And I'm getting ready for work. We have a potluck today at work, and our administrative assistant was like, hey, can you remember to bring $10 because we're getting a botana? Awesome, great. So I'm like, great, I've got it at home because I have a bunch of singles in my purse that I bring every day. I don't want to bring singles anyway. So I go at home this morning and I'm like, all right, let me check my other purses because I have cash in other purses. So I'm like, okay, this purse, I've got more $1 bills. This one, more $1 bills. Finally, I ended up taking a 20 because I'm like, well, somebody's got to have change, right? But I'm like, let me check one more purse because I haven't been using it. So I got this purse, right? Pretty and everything. I don't use this purse because it's very pretty and it's more of a summer bag, and I was barely going to start using it because it's summer again. I think I last used it like last fall or so. So I'm opening, don't mind, I've got like a lot of tissues. So I'm going in here and I'm checking all the pockets and I am not finding my $10 bill. Not even $5 bill. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then I'm like, oh yeah, there's a pocket in the front. So I open it and I'm like, what is this? I pull out this. Now you're thinking, okay, but that's necklace A, right? Well, no tangle. No little charm on the end. See, the one my mom got me as a replacement has a charm. So I'm thinking, I haven't used this purse in months. Where did this one come from? So let me show you. This is the one I found this morning. This is the one that my mom got me as a replacement. And this is the one that went missing. I'll show a picture in a second. But now I have 3 of these type of necklaces. Where did it come from? Okay, so this is the necklace that was missing. You can tell because it has a tangle at the end. This is the necklace that came with it from Amazon. These 2 are the necklaces that my mom got me as replacements. You can see that this one is more of a yellow gold, this is more of a rose gold. So I forgot that when I was explaining it to my mom, but that's perfect because I love rose gold and one of my rings is rose gold. So I go in my purse this morning and I find this one. Necklace A, necklace B, and now necklace C with no, I don't know if you can see it, but no tangle, right? And I check my Amazon. These 2 necklaces. So where did this one come from?
It's so weird because it's like a duplication glitch and then like a disappearing glitch all in one, because the necklace disappears, so she gets a new one, and then she finds the necklace again, but then the original necklace duplicates, but it's like a little different because of like this part, like the chain thingy. I mean, I guess it's good because she has 3 of this necklace that she loves so much, but that's so crazy. It's like you search everywhere for it, you give up, and then your mom gets you a new one because she knows you love it and you guys couldn't find it, and then it reappears in a place that you know you looked before. I mean, that alone I think would be crazy enough, but then like another one to just appear, I don't know how you explain that. It's like the universe is literally blessing her with necklaces. Our next TikTok's with the user Shannon Be Funny.
So when I was a kid, we used to visit my grandma down in Griffin, Georgia. Grandma was super nice. Like, she was like one of those classic grandmas where like you would come in and she was like, hey baby, come on in. Just like real sweet grandma. But like, I always was like, oh, she's so nice, but like, she's kind of mean, because there was like this uncle who would like sit in this space over there, like where you hang up. All right, so old school. It's an old school kind of coat hanger. It's like a coat hanger where you hang, it looks like a throne, but you hang your coats on it. But then also the seat is like a storage space. Anyway, I had an uncle that would sit right there. And I was like, she always be so nice to us, but she never talks to him. He is her brother. I just knew it. I was like, he's her brother. She never talks to him. Like, why does she do that? And he would be sitting there like smiling when we came in the house. And like one day I was like, I'm just gonna be nice. I turned him, I was like, hey. And he was just like, hey. And so like later on in life, like anyway, that story, like it never came to be. And I was like I never understood. I never talked to my grandma because she passed away. I never discussed with her like why she never talked to my, I guess it would be my granduncle, or like talk to her brother. Like he was living with her. So I was like, Mom, remember that man that we called my grandma Ivy? I was like, remember that man that used to be at Ivy's house? And my mom was like, I was like, yeah, you know, like the man, he would sit over there like with all them on that throne coat hanger thing. And she was like, what man? And my brother was like, yeah, that man that used to sit over there. Like he would just sit there. Anyway, I saw a ghost because there was no man that was there. Oh no. I spoke to him and he spoke back to me. He wasn't scary. He was just kind of creepy. And I don't know how I knew that was her brother, but something in my kid mind was like, why don't she talk to her brother? But anyway, I saw a ghost. More like lived with a ghost.
Now, this video was tagged as a glitch in the Matrix, but I don't think that's it. Like, it's definitely paranormal. I mean, she comes to that conclusion on her own at the end, but the tags in the caption are glitch in the Matrix, and I've had a couple people send it to me as a glitch in the Matrix. So it's like, it's definitely paranormal, but it's really interesting and brings up the discussion of like, are these things kind of overlapping? Like, I think for sure in this scenario, it is solely paranormal because he seems intelligent, is seeing her, interacted with her, like it responded when she said hi. But I think sometimes maybe we should consider the idea that maybe paranormal could be a glitch in the Matrix because it could be timelines kind of coinciding. And, you know, maybe it's not an intelligent entity because it's not aware that the timelines are kind of collapsed. It's like doing its own thing and isn't aware that you can see it because you're like seeing into another wavelength or timeline. I think that's something that we definitely need to consider with paranormal things, but I think strictly for this video it is paranormal only and not a glitch in the Matrix. But I think it's so interesting that people were tagging and like presenting it to me as glitch in the Matrix, and the creator itself tagged glitch in the Matrix. Our next TikTok is by the user Caroline Mueller.
Hello, good morning. I'm getting ready for work, but I've been seeing all these glitch in the Matrix story times on TikTok, and I'm like, oh, I've never had a glitch in the Matrix. Like, I'm so jealous. And I realized maybe I have had a few, and I just never chalked it up to that because I've never thought of it that way. And a few of them are when I was younger. So, first one, when I was 5 years old, I got my first Webkins for Christmas. It was a Chihuahua, and did Christmas, opened it, whatever. The Chihuahua was downstairs. I go upstairs in my house, and there's another of the exact same Chihuahua Webkins. And so my parents told me, I'm like, I go show my parents. I'm like, yeah, there's two. What? And my parents told me that, oh, Santa must have dropped it when he was trying to bring it to our across the street neighbor, who was my best friend. And so I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And so we took it to her, and it was hers. And so mine was named Snowflake, and hers was named Snowflake 1. I don't know why we named them that, but that's the first one. And the second one, when I was also young, whenever Wall-E came out somewhere between like 5 and 8, I guess, me and my family saw it in theaters, and I fell asleep because the beginning of Wall-E is boring as hell. And I wake up at the end, and I only have one flip-flop on, which is odd. So we're looking all around like the theater, no flip-flop. We find it in like the lobby of the movie theater. Also, like, just always been a mystery. And so the third one was more recent. This is my high school class ring. This one. And I was at the bar one time, like sophomore, junior year, and I feel it fly off my finger. Like, it was a little big, and I literally feel it fly off my finger. So I'm at the bar, like, crawling on the ground under like tables. Like, we are literally like lifting up this picnic table looking for it. I'm calling the bar the next day, seeing if they have it. 2 days later, one of my friends is like, hey, found this ring at my house. And she went to the rival school of like my high school, so she in our hometown, so she recognized the ring, and we were with a bunch of other girls I went to high school with. And so she's like, I think one of y'all left your ring here, like, I have it. I'm like, you're joking. And it was mine. So those are my 3 glitch in the Matrix stories, or something along those lines.
I definitely think all of these things are glitches in the Matrix, and it's so funny that she thought that she hadn't had any until she really sat down and thought about it. I think sometimes things are just like weird, and then you brush it off, and it's not until you really think deeply about it that you're like, that shouldn't have happened. Like, that's definitely like glitch in the Matrix. And I mean, Definitely, you guys, think about it. If you can come up with any glitches that you've experienced that you didn't realize until now, feel free to send them to me. I have an email where I collect story submissions. I've only gotten like 20 of them at this point, and I'm kind of waiting for a good amount so I can make a whole video based on your paranormal and then another video of Glitch in the Matrix story submissions. But I'm trying like to collect enough where I get a good substantial video out of it. But like I said, I have an email linked down below. It's not my business email, it's abbystorysubmission@gmail.com. It's like towards the bottom of my description. But you guys, if you think of anything, feel free to send them to me and I will include them in a viewer submitted story video. Our next TikTok's by the user, Katie Stone.
Hey y'all. Hey, listen, so I need somebody that knows something about quantum physics and the things to explain to me what the fuck has been happening to me this week. So I get migraines, and I had a migraine on Monday night that was fucking rocking. It was really bad. I've only had this kind of migraine twice that I can remember where it's throbbing so bad that I imagine that must be what like a stroke feels like. It's horrible. Well, it woke me up. I took a Maxalt. I looked at the clock when I took that and it said 1:46. Okay, fine. I didn't fall asleep that night until after midnight because I was having a hard time sleeping, but it said 1:46, clearly. I go back to sleep and I start having a dream. Matt and I are in a completely different house, living a completely different life, and the clock on the microwave in the kitchen of that house says 1:46. Okay, whatever. It's a dream. It's weird. Fine. People have weird dreams all the time. Then when I woke up the first time and took the Maxalt, Matt was not in the bed. He gets heartburn. It happens. He gets on the couch sometimes. It isn't unusual that he was not in the bed. When I woke up from this dream, it didn't feel like I was asleep all that long, but I know I definitely fell back asleep because I was having this dream. So when I wake up from the dream, Matt is back in the bed. I can see the Maxalt wrapper there. I know that I definitely took the Maxalt. It was real. I looked at the clock and it said 1:46. And I don't know how that's a thing. I don't understand how that's a thing. Does it mean anything? Does it not mean anything? I also have this really weird thing where I hear what I think sounds like muffled voices through the white noise that I sleep with. And it's so weird because they sound super far away and I can't make out what anybody's saying. And sometimes it sounds like maybe laughter. I think this would be good with limoncello in it. And I think it kind of sounds like maybe laughter. I can't quite tell. But I heard that the night that I was having the migraine when I was trying to fall asleep the first time, but they sounded closer, if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't, but it still sounded muffled and like it was super far away, but also closer at the same time. And I don't know, I'm having a hard time with this. So it sounded like it was still muffled, but it was also closer than what it usually is. And I don't know if that ties into the throbbing migraine that I had. I don't know if it ties into the weird times on the clock. I don't know if Matt not being in bed and then being in bed had to do with anything. I don't know if the clock in our dream life being on the same time had to do with anything. But I also have been having a dream every night since then. Today is Saturday. Every single night since Monday night when I had that dream that we were in the different house. Baby, can you help me with this, please? I'm having trouble. So I did notice that every night I've been having this dream where when I fall asleep, I pick up where I left off the night before in this new house, in this new area. We're living a different life. We're still together. It's all normal, except it's a different house. And I don't know really what that means either. Everything is just so weird about it. So every night I pick up, almost like watching a series of shows and you pick up right where you left off. It's the exact same spot. It happened again last night. And I'm trying to wake myself up. It feels like I'm stuck between the dream world and trying to wake up. I don't feel like I'm asleep on the home stretch of these dreams. It feels like I'm trying to wake myself up and I can physically feel that I'm like reaching on the bed. I don't know. I'm trying to reach for something tangible and it doesn't work. I consciously am trying to wake myself up, but it doesn't feel like it's a dream at that point. It feels like I actually am awake, but in this different world and I don't know what it means. So I need somebody that knows about this shit, quantum stuff, to tell me if I am just crazy or if I'm living in some kind of alternate reality, or if I read too many of these stories on Reddit and I think it's become a real thing and it's not. I am open to any suggestions that anyone has. I went onto Reddit and tried to figure out some of this on my own. And the best advice that I could find with similar situations is I did in fact have a stroke with that migraine, and I died, and I jumped timelines and then ended up back in this timeline. I don't know if I actually believe that, but maybe somebody that understands more of this can tell me.
Our next TikTok is by the user Emily630.
Let me tell y'all my glitch in the matrix story. This isn't like the craziest story ever, but I still think it's very weird, something that bothers me to this day, and I've never really shared it, and I'm curious what other people might think. So this happened a while ago when I was in middle school. I was having a friend sleep over my house. It was just me and her in my room, and I will say, yes, this story happened late at night, but I was not sleeping, dreaming, anything like that. I'm someone who does dream, but I can very easily tell what's a dream memory and what's a reality memory, or like a real memory. So I know for a fact that this actually happened. So I had brought some snacks into my room, which I was not supposed to do because I was not allowed to eat in my room. And with the snack, I brought a big glass of water because obviously we're gonna get thirsty. And then being the clown that I am, I spill a giant glass of water on my rug. And I'm like freaking out. It like shouldn't be a big deal that I spilled the water. But more so in my head, I was like, if this makes a mess, my mom's gonna also know that I was eating in my room. And I put my hand down on the rug, and when I tell you it was like sopping, soaking wet, like when I pulled my hand away, my hand was soaked from having touched where it spilled. So I was like, ugh, dang it, I have to go clean this up. So I told my friend, stay in my room, because my house is small and I didn't want to wake people up and have my mom be like, what are you doing? So I knew it would be quicker and easier for me to just go to my kitchen, grab some paper towels, and come back because I know the layout, whatever. I do that, come back. My house is small, mind you, like could not have been gone from my room for more than like 30 seconds. When I come back to my room, there is no wet spot. There is no water at all. And I was like, how is this possible? Like my rug was soaking wet, and I was feeling all around my room, totally hands and knees on the floor, trying to feel for a spot because I'm like, did I just get the spot in my room wrong? Like, am I just feeling the wrong place? But there was not a drop of water. I even lifted up my rug to see if it had soaked through and maybe all the water was now on the floor beneath it. But obviously that doesn't even make sense because if it soaked through the rug would still be somewhat damp even if water had gotten beneath it. And I feel like I remember saying something to my friend, like, where's the water? And she was kind of just like, I don't know, like, just gave me a nondescript, kind of vague, non-committal answer kind of thing. And at the time, I didn't really think much of it. I was just happy that I didn't have to clean up a mess and I wasn't going to get in trouble for having food or whatever in my room. But it's one of those things that over the years, like, creeps into my head. And I'm like, when I left and came back, where did the water go? Or more horrifyingly, where did I go? And like I said, I know this isn't like the most crazy glitch in the Matrix story, but it is weird, and to this day it does kind of bother me because I don't understand how that happened. If anyone has ever experienced something like this or has thoughts on what happened, I would be very interested to hear it because I think it's very...
I think that's specifically crazy to me because when you spill water on carpet, it's like, it's there. It takes forever to dry because it soaks into the pad underneath. It's like you spill water and you step on it right away without trying to dry it. It's like you're stepping in a marsh. So the fact that it just completely disappeared, like dried itself up, cleaned itself up, poof, gone, there's no logical explanation for that other than some kind of a glitch. Our next TikTok's with the user, Paige Cyrus.
Okay, so I had something so weird happen today. And the other day, a few days ago, last week, I got in a really bad car accident. Car is totaled. It was terrible. I luckily only walked away with scrapes and bruises. As soon as I got out of the car, I called my son's school to let the front desk person know that I was going to be late to pick him up because I had been in a terrible car accident. I was on the way to pick him up from school. She told me later that day that it was really weird because 9 years ago to that day, she had had a really terrible motorcycle accident. I said, wow, that's so crazy. Today, I get a call from the auto body shop, the man doing the inspection of my car. He told me, the car's totaled. I just wanted to call and also ask if you're okay because this car is in terrible damage. And I said, yeah, I'm okay, whatever. He said, where were you when this car got totaled, when this accident happened? And I told him what intersection I was at. And he said, no way. Yeah? He's like, 2 years ago today, I got in a terrible car accident in that same intersection going the same direction. So the day of the accident, the first person I talked to had a horrible accident 9 years ago to the day. Today, this man that I interact with tells me 2 years ago to the day he had a horrible accident at the same intersection. I am really woo-woo, and I feel like I've gotten in really good touch with the universe over the last few years, just diving deeper into my spirituality. What does this mean? I really believe there are no coincidences, but like, just weird. What's it mean? I need to hear from Woo Woo Spiritual TikTok. Let me know what you think.
I wonder if this is a situation of her jumping timelines and essentially like saving her life. And maybe these people that she's coming across, that it's like a weird coincidence of them also having car accidents that are very similar or relate to hers. That it's kind of like maybe the universe trying to be like, hey, like I saved you, or hey, you made it out of here when maybe you shouldn't have. Maybe it's like these people are like sent to kind of maybe make her think about it a little more deeply. And obviously she has if she's made this TikTok, but maybe like a sign of like, hey, you survived, like I made sure you survived, kind of a message from the universe. Maybe it's like a sign of divine intervention almost. It's kind of my theory here. Either way, I think it's like a weird coincidence. If not, I don't think it's a coincidence. I really do think that this is some kind of divine intervention. And we hear this so often that people are like, I had a really bad wreck and I shouldn't have made it out, but I did. And I really do think that the universe is like, your time is not up yet, and just goes boop and puts you in another universe. Or not universe. It just goes boop and puts you on another timeline. Our next TikTok's with the user Helen Keller's Driving School. Alright, that's one of the funniest usernames I've ever heard.
Okay, so something super, super weird happened to me the other day, and I was debating on if I was going to talk about this because I realized that people will think that I'm a fucking lunatic, but then I also realized I don't care. So all of my friends that believe that they have experienced a glitch in the system, or what some people call a glitch in the matrix, I'm going to need you all to step up to the front real quick. I'm going to need you to step up because this shit ain't never happened to me until the other day. Nothing in this ballpark has ever happened to me till the other day. So my family and I are eating dinner, right? My son and I are all eating dinner at the table, and my husband had my Stanley cup on. This man, God, I love him, but he's always putting my lids too tight. I can never get them off by myself. I always need, whenever I need new water, I need him to open up for me because he's always putting them on tight. So I ask him out of water. I'm like, hey, can you get me water, please? And I the lid because I get it. Up my cup, I'm sitting at the end of the table with this into perspective, and he is directly next to me. So he pulls up my water, he goes the lid back on without the straw lid, drops so the floor, the ground there, or the table, he can if I could sitting can't
Maybe like the water bottle would have gotten like severely dented or something had it actually landed on the ground, and that's how it landed on the table. I mean, like, it's not that serious. You know, it's like, it's so funny because if the universe did in fact intervene and, you know, placed her water bottle on the table so it didn't get super dented, it's kind of funny because it's like the universe is over here like plucking people out of car accidents to save their life, and then over here it's like, oh, let me save your water bottle from getting dented or something like that. Like, it's just, glitches are so random. There's no rhyme or reason, and when there is a rhyme or reason, sometimes it's like, okay, it's like a stupid thing like a dent in a water bottle, maybe, if that's a theory we want to go with, or like saving a life. You know, it's just, the universe works in mysterious ways, and it's so funny sometimes. Our next TikTok's with user who_Nix.
So it's this theory that reality didn't just glitch one time. It glitched 3 separate times, and technically all of us died without realizing it. And the craziest part about it is the times line up perfectly with the years where things started to feel wrong. So it goes, year 2000 was the first death. That's when we thought something was going to happen for Y2K, like computer shutdowns and all that type of stuff. But really, the timeline collapsed, like we hit a dead end. And instead of just stopping, time just shoved us into the nearest parallel timeline. That's why the 2000s feel like a dream. Like, all the memories feel blurry, and the 90s feel so close to us, like we just lived them yesterday, but they're so far away. Some people say that 2000 was the year our original simulation ended. Then the year 2012 was our second death. That's when all the Mandela effects came into play, like the Monopoly man with the monocle, the Bernstein Bears. One of the biggest ones being when JFK was shot, he had passengers, and then all of a sudden he didn't have passengers. Y'all remember that, right? It's basically when whole groups started remembering 2 different realities. The theory says we died again, not physically, but collectively, and got shifted to a slightly off version of Earth. So basically like a backup file. And finally, 2020, the third death. That's the one that people actually felt. The emptiness, the time distortion, the way you feel that days don't move the same how they used to. The sky looking wrong, birds disappearing, people saying that the world just doesn't feel real anymore, like they having derealization moments. 2020 is when we supposedly hit the final desync, meaning not just a shift, an entire rewrite. That's why everything after 2020 feels like a fever dream. Nothing surprises you anymore. Reality feels copy and pasted and slightly laggy, then fast at the same time. Some say 2020 was when the simulation fully crashed, and we've been in reboot ever since. Do you feel like you remember a version of life that nobody else seems to remember, or do you think we're just all glitching together?
Our next 4 TikToks are with user Lindsay's Creepy Story Time.
One of my followers, Joshua, sent a story in to me and it made me cry. Hang tight for the twist ending. He shares a story about his life and he starts it where he met this girl. He said he was so nervous trying to work up the courage to ask her out. His voice was shaky and his heart was pounding, but when he finally did, she said yes. He says they start dating and then days turn into weeks, turn into months, turn into years, and he's just living his life happily with her. They were together about 3 years when they decided to move in together, and he said he got a really good job in sales. They build routines together, share groceries, make inside jokes, have fights, and make up. And then the big day comes where he proposes to her along the Pacific Northwest coastline. He remembers the cool air and the sound of the ocean churning. And then fast forward and they get married. He said it was a small and simple wedding. And then they had children. They had 2 daughters, 1 year apart. He says he cherished every moment of their childhood, the days that turned into years. One of his fondest memories was watching his wife at the park holding his oldest daughter's hand as they walked by the playground. She was wearing a simple black dress that moved softly in the breeze, and his heart just swells looking at her. His daughter had a little red sun hat that barely stayed on her head, and they had just gotten back from a family brunch. He's holding his youngest daughter on his hip, and she's sleepy and clingy, and she smells like syrup from the pancakes at brunch. Her hands are still sticky, and he's just enjoying every little moment, thinking back to all of the really happy times and some hard times too. He reminisces about holding them when they were sick and sitting at softball practices because his youngest daughter loves it. He talks about comforting them when their hearts were broken and eating cheap ice cream and watching rom-coms with them. He loved celebrating schoolwork, small victories, and late night talks. And now it's 18 years later and his youngest daughter is about to graduate high school. He was so upset because his new boss was on this power trip and he was making everybody stay late and he did not want to miss this graduation. In his frustration, he thought maybe he should just up and leave this company even though he's been there since he's 25. but all he wanted to do was get to the ceremony. He said there was a really bad thunderstorm and he could barely see to drive. The rain was pouring down, but he pushed through it because he was just determined to make it on time. The rain picked up even more, and then he sees two big bright headlights coming straight towards him. And then he wakes up. He's in a tiny, musty room with a bunk bed overhead. At first, he doesn't recognize anything. And then realization hit, and he thought to himself, I'm back. He says there was no sense of like, oh, that was just a dream. He said it felt like life was ripped out of him. He's 23 years old. He's in a crappy shack that his ex-wife's parents forced them into, under their generosity, which always came with threats. He was in an abusive relationship with no job prospects and no freedom. He said he's sterile with no kids. They are not an option. He said, the kids I just raised for 18 years never existed. The roommate in the bunk above him stirs and his heart sinks. He says, it wasn't real. It wasn't my family. None of that happened. He said, but it felt like it did. He mourns them like real people, real daughters, a real marriage, a life he lived. He says, for weeks he grieved and then life had to move on. He says, but even now, 10 years later, he still thinks about them, his wife and children who only existed in a dream. Things are fading and he doesn't remember their faces anymore, but he remembers the love. I was going to try not to cry, but anyway, that one gets me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure he'll be in there reading them. I have so many thoughts on this, but I don't want to keep crying. So let me know what you think and follow for more creepy story time. I heard this glitch story a few years ago and I can't get it out of my head. So now I'm going to share it with you. Creepy story time. So this woman starts her story off by saying her husband is an electrical engineer and she is a teacher, and she wanted to make sure everyone knows they are not crazy people. She said back when her and her husband were first dating, he was in a terrible car crash. His truck slid on black ice, went into oncoming traffic, and it was completely totaled. The other truck that he hit was also totaled, but the weird thing was that he and the other guy he hit were completely fine. There was not a scratch on them. The first responders, the tow truck companies, and even insurance all could not believe that not only had nobody passed away, but no one was even severely injured or injured at all. So fast forward a couple of days, and she and her boyfriend were hanging out on the couch, and he casually asked her when she got that flat screen TV on her dresser. She's completely baffled because she's had that flat screen TV since she's 13 years old, and they've been together for a little over a year, and it's been there the entire time. So he's like, quit joking with me. When did you get that flat screen, and what did you do with the old tube TV that used to be sitting there? She is insisting that she has always had the flat screen. What are you talking about? There is no tube TV. And they were arguing, and it got to the point where she pulled up Facebook and showed him a photograph that they took together, and that flat screen TV was indeed in the background of the photo. She says his expression drops, his face is white as a ghost, and his eyes start watering. And she's like, are you okay? What is wrong? He said, I am not crazy. I swear to God that you had a tube TV, and that was a tube TV when we took the photo. She just kind of let it go then, brushing it off as, you know, maybe he's a little rattled from the accident yet, but she said every time they had been hanging out in that room since, he'd always like side eye and look at the TV really weird. Fast forward 7 years now, and it had been a few years since they were married. They decided it's finally time that they want to be parents. She said they weren't actively trying, but they were going to let it be whatever happens, happens. So they're on vacation now in Italy, and they're wandering around Rome, and she said she started to feel like complete shit. She had also had her period the week before, and it was one of the worst ones she ever had. But she just keeps getting sicker and sicker. It's like her period came back full force. She's throwing up, all of the things. She's pretty confused and weirded out since she just had her period the week before. And it got to the point where she was so sick that the next thing she knows, they're going to emergency and she is on a stretcher. She's being wheeled into surgery because the doctor explained she had a ruptured ectopic pregnancy. She did pull through though, and after a week of recovery, she was all cleared to fly home. So fast forward another 2 months, and they are hanging out, and the topic of fires come up, and he brings up how scary that would be, what happens if they'd have a kitchen fire.
And she chimes in and says, well, don't worry. Remember, we've got that fire extinguisher in the closet. Now he's looking at her like she has 3 heads. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she repeats herself that, yeah, don't you remember? We got that fire extinguisher that we put in the coat closet. She said they've had it for 3 years. And he was the one who insisted that they buy one when they got the house. But he's shaking his head no. He has no idea what she's talking about. They absolutely do not have a fire extinguisher. She brings up, don't you remember when we not only fought about whether we needed it or not, we bought it at Home Depot, argued about where to even put it in the house. All of that happened. He is adamant. Nope, absolutely none of that happened. So she's pissed. She gets up, cursing him under her breath, walks over to the closet to prove her point, opens up the door, and there is no fire extinguisher. Not only is there no fire extinguisher, there are no holes where it would have been. There is no fresh paint painted over. And now she feels like she's losing it. She's furious and she's like, why would you move it and cover it up and paint over it as just like some elaborate prank? And he's fighting her back saying, none of that happened. As the fight came to a head, he was kind of like, now you know how I feel about the tube TV. So then they didn't speak about it for a long time. And one of them came upon one of these threads on the internet talking about glitches in reality or jumping timeline. They are convinced that they both actually were unalived and kind of had a reset into this new reality, and the TV and the fire extinguisher were just little mistakes, little glitches. She said she's never been more rattled in her entire life, and anytime she has to go into that closet, she just gets this overwhelming sense of something's just not right. And he says he will go to his grave claiming that that used to be a tube TV. Such an awesome story. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And also, has anything like that ever happened to you where certain things are just a little bit different? And don't forget to follow for more creepy story time.
All right, I haven't done this in a while, but we're going to do mini creepy story time. And for those of you who are not familiar, it's where I tell 3 bite-sized stories that aren't quite long enough to fill out a full post, but they're too cool to skip. So some of these come from followers and other comes from the comments, and we're going to get into it right now. Mini creepy story time number 1. This one actually kind of reminds me a little bit of those Mandela effects. This first story comes from one of my followers from Johannesburg, South Africa. And I'm not sure if she wants to remain anonymous or not. I didn't have time to ask, so we're going to call her A for the story. So when she saw on TV the release of the movie Honey Don't, she noticed on the cover of that ad that the main character, the main actor, was Benedict Cumberbatch and a lady. So she remembers having a long conversation with her sister about it because they both really like his acting. So they agreed that they're going to see this movie. Fast forward to about last week, and A says to her sister, so do you want to watch that movie? And she says, oh yeah, because we love Chris Evans, because Chris Evans is the main actor. So A is in shock, because she remembers what she saw. That cover had Benedict on it, and she even remembers having this conversation with her sister, but her sister does not remember this conversation, and now A is feeling like she's looking crazy. She remembers that this cover had Benedict staring between a woman's legs, and then when she went to look it up just to prove it to herself or her sister maybe, the cover, completely different. This is what the current cover looks like. Surely not with Benedict on there. She even went and checked the names of all the rest of the characters in the movie, and yeah, no Benedict on there at all, just Chris Evans. She says, I'm feeling a bit crazy over here. All right, let her know your thoughts on that one. Mini creepy story time number 2. So my follower named Allie sent this story in, and it's kind of like a 2-for-1. There's 2 stories involved in this one. So for the first story, her cousin had purchased her a little bag for Christmas, and she said it was pretty small, only really large enough to hold her phone. And she says she's used it multiple times. This bag also had a little pouch on it where she kept some little things inside. So one day she grabs her lip gloss and some tissues and she goes to put it in that little pouch along with the other things inside. And when she goes to do so, she notices that factory clip that comes on for when you're inside the store so you can't open up and go into all the pouches. Yeah, that clip was on the zippers so that she would not be able to get in. Now, she thought that's really weird because I've used this before. Like, is she going nuts? So she cuts it off, and guys, inside were those things she had already put in there previously. Like, she knew she had. But how?
did that factory clip get back on there. She says she had only been living with her young daughter, so there's just nobody there that would have been able to reinforce that. So freaking wild. Okay, so her second story, this is about 5 years back now. Her and her 2 children were driving through a village near to their house when all of a sudden she started hearing this weird like tapping sound coming from the car. So she remembers thinking to herself, ugh, this is gonna cost me a fortune. I gotta go to the garage. So she pulls over to the side of the road because she wants to give it a rest for a few minutes and see if that doesn't help it. So she says she pulls over for no more than 5 minutes, like 5 minutes max. Okay. She even looked at the clock just before because she knew she really had to get home. So after the short 5 minutes, she goes to set off again and she notices the clock. Guys, it was 4 hours later. Like, she is missing 4 hours of her life. She said even that little village she was in is only 15-20 minutes from her home. And what the heck happened in those 4 hours? Like, she does not remember what it could have been. Right away, my mind goes to abduction. So she also wonders, what are your thoughts on that? And last but not least, mini creepy story time number 3. This third story comes from somebody that was actually leaving a comment under one of my other stories. It was a glitch story, and it reminded her of what happened to her and her sister. So she and her sister went to see David Copperfield, and there was a part where he was supposed to be up on stage, but really he was going to sneak through the crowd and appear there. So she and her sister both remember seeing a cloaked, hooded figure moving through the crowd because he was going to end up popping up just across the aisle from them. Now, when she saw his face, she was surprised because she assumed he was wearing some kind of a mask because it was really weird. He looked like himself, like David Copperfield looks, but much, much older, like very aged, very prominent wrinkles, just way older than he should be appearing right now. But to her surprise, when he popped up and took his hood off, he looked completely normal, like exactly what he should look like right now. And she was surprised because she did not see him take off a mask. Like, she could have sworn he had a mask on, but he didn't. Okay, so fast forward to after the show. She is starting to talk to her sister and she tells her sister about what she saw. And her sister gets this shocked expression on her face. See, because her sister also saw him coming through the crowd, but when she looked at his face, he looked like David Copperfield, but way younger, like no wrinkles and a much more youthful version. And then when he took that hood off, back to the same visual that her sister had. You know, this one gets me really thinking. I've heard so many stories about stars and, I don't know, shape-shifting and so many freaking things. The veil is really thinning, y'all. What do you think about that one? This one is really intriguing to me. She ends it by saying she just does not understand how they could have each seen 2 completely different versions of the same person. All right, guys, let all of these people know what your thoughts are down in the comments. And if you are interested in creepy storytime merch, like the tank top I'm wearing right now, definitely check out the LINK in my bio. And if you're new here, you got to follow for more creepy storytime. This is one of the most wild glitch in the matrix stories or parallel universe stories I have ever read. So this man named Elio tells this story that happened to him just a few months ago. He starts off by saying everything that occurred was witnessed by 2 people at the same time. So Elio meets up with his cousin to have a beer at the Friday Samba gathering. This is located in Largo de Santos, Sicilia. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Now, this is a weekly event that always gets very crowded. So it's kind of this square area and there are tables and chairs and people are mingling outside and they freely pop in and out of different bars to grab drinks and use the bathroom. Kind of like a big bar free-for-all. So Elio and his cousin hang out from about 8:30 to 11:30 p.m. He wants to make it very clear that in this time, they each had 2 beers and 2 beers only. and they each split a basket of chicken bites. And he said, and that was it. There was nothing else before they decided to leave. The reason why he wanted to break it down is to make it clear that they weren't drunk, and he also wanted to say they were not on any other substances either. So they both decided that before they left, they were going to go use the restroom, but the bar that they were currently standing in front of was way too crowded. I mean, all the bars were crowded, but this one was really bad. So they decided that they're going to go use the restroom next door. They both enter this next door bar, and he said that when they did, it was completely empty. And he doesn't mean like, oh, there's not anybody in here, like customer wise. He means like not even a bartender. I mean, nobody in sight, which was extremely unusual for the area and the commotion going on in and out of all these establishments. So he said they both went into the restroom in the back, and he noticed that it only had stalls and sinks. So Elio's cousin goes into the first stall, and then he follows suit and goes into the one right next to it. Right off the bat, Elio notices that it's really weird that during the first few seconds that he's in there, his cousin kept on knocking into the divider wall between the stalls, almost if he kept bumping into it and leaning on it, you know, for extra support or something. So when Elio comes out to wash his hands, there was also a man washing his hands at the sink in front of the first stall. And Elio said he looked at this man in his eyes, and this man looked back into Elio's eyes. And Elio said, I have never seen this person in my life before. He describes him as being an older man, probably around 50 or 60 years old, with a very serious expression on his face, but otherwise just a pretty ordinary person in the restroom. He now is looking towards the first stall where he had seen his cousin enter, but it was empty, and it's strange because he didn't notice his cousin leave. Now, he said it wasn't impossible. It was just something he noticed, like his cousin wasn't in there anymore. So Elio assumes that his cousin is probably just waiting for him outside of the bathroom. So Elio says he sees that strange man finish up washing his hands, and then the man begins to exit. And so Elio finishes up too, and he is now headed just behind him. Then Elio notices something. This man was wearing a green waist bag on his back, and it was identical to his cousin's, being worn the same way his cousin would wear it. They both exit the bathroom now, and Elio is looking around, and he notices that the bar is indeed still empty. He said he watched the strange man walk outside to the sidewalk and stop as though he were waiting for someone. And Elio also walked out to the sidewalk and once again stopped beside this person. And despite having no idea who this was, Elio said that they both once again made complete eye contact, but it was like there was no recognition by either person. Like they did not know who each other was. So Elio is looking around outside now for his cousin, and he is not seeing him. He also mentions that since he left the bar, there were now lots of people on the sidewalk, and he walked around a bit looking for him, but nothing. And then he says to himself, this is impossible. Maybe he's back in the restroom. Maybe I missed him. He's got to be in the bathroom. So Elio goes back into the bar to look for his cousin. As Elio walked to the restroom, while the bar was completely empty, he felt his phone vibrate, and he saw it was his cousin calling. So obviously Elio answers immediately, and he's asking where he was. And guys, this is where it gets freaking crazy. So as Elio's cousin is explaining, or begins to explain to Elio on the phone, Elio turns around and he notices his cousin is standing in the exact same spot on the sidewalk that man was standing just moments ago, you know, as they kind of looked into each other's eyes. And again, his cousin was standing in the same spot, in the exact same position, wearing that green bag. So they lock eyes, immediately recognize each other, and then he goes out to meet his cousin out on the sidewalk. Okay, so the moment that they got out to each other and they met, they both almost simultaneously said, what the hell just happened? Okay, so that's when Elio's cousin told him his version of events. Guys, this is freaking wild. So Elio's cousin's version was extremely similar, but with very important differences. Elio's cousin claims he had not been banging into the stall divider at all, quite the opposite. Finished up quickly, and then he had been waiting outside of the restroom for Elio. Still inside that empty bar, and he said he had been standing out there for about 10 minutes. And here's where it gets even crazier. So while Elio's cousin was in that bar, he also bumped into a strange man while washing his hands. However, he said that the man wasn't just older, his face was completely deformed. And in his words, he had incredibly heavy energy. He said it was almost as though he wanted to hurt someone. He said that he saw the strange man following him, being Elio's cousin, out of the bar. And Elio's cousin says, and I recognized that the clothing that this strange deformed man was wearing was almost exactly like Elio's. Elio says, just like I recognized the weird guy wearing that same green bag, well, Elio's cousin recognized him in that same t-shirt. And it just keeps going. When he saw the deformed man walk back into the bar, he decided to call Elio. And according to him, he then witnessed almost a metamorphosis. As this man turned around, he saw changes in his posture, shape, and face. And by the time the figure fully turned around, it was Elio standing there. He said, after that, we simply met up and walked towards the house where we would both call an Uber. Everything was completely normal, as if nothing had happened. Elio says that he and his cousin are very skeptical people. He told Elio that he spent days afterwards feeling genuinely terrified, and he still has no reasonable explanation for what could have happened. So what do you think? Is this just a simple glitch? Is this a jump into an alternate reality or parallel universe? It's freaking wild and I love it. I am so here for it. All right, drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you have your own glitch story, you gotta share it. If you're interested in my creepy story time merch, check out that LINK in the bio, and if you're new here, definitely follow for more creepy story time.
I wasn't gonna include all of these in this video, but they're just so good. I couldn't decide which ones I wanted to include, so they're all in here. Oh my god, like I can't wrap my head around all of this. In regards to the first one, it's very much giving that like lamp. It's very much giving that like lamp story where that guy realizes that everything is like a lie. And we've been hearing a lot of stories like that recently. Obviously, this one comes to a really, really, really sad ending because it's like this guy had this wonderful life and now he's living under like in a bunk bed with a roommate and has no kids, and his life is like a failure compared to what he thought it was. And it's really devastating, honestly. Like, it's definitely a glitch, but it's a really, really devastating one. I mean, you'd hope that it was like the reverse kind of a thing, that you just happen to have like a glitchy nightmare where you're in a bad situation and you're like, oh, thank God, like I actually do have a wife and kids kind of a thing. But unfortunately for this guy, it seems to be the opposite. As for the second story, I mean, the fact that there's both things that they remember differently, and it's like they're so convinced were one way, and then the other one's like, nope, that's actually not the case. And there's like evidence to the contrary that it was never like that, but they know it was. It's like, I definitely can subscribe to the idea that maybe somehow they both died and transition timelines a little bit, and that's why they remember things differently. But it's so weird that it's like two things in the same apartment from two separate people, you know? It's so weird that they're both having this experience in their own way. Our next TikTok with user, Oaklafreaky.
Okay, so I like love glitch in the matrix stories and Mandela effects. Like, I'm like really into like hearing that kind of stuff. I think it's really interesting. And not that long ago, I realized that I actually have my own personal one, and it happened like 10 years ago. And back then I didn't have like a way to explain it, but now like with all these stories you hear from other people, it like kind of feels like it fits. So when I was in high school, I had a friend, and we weren't in the same grade, but we did activities together and our families knew each other, and we actually like went on vacation together once. And after we weren't in school together, I don't know if it was after she had graduated or I think I had graduated too. I think this was like 10 years ago. My mom said something about like her brother dying when we were in high school. Oh my god, Tito, ouch, ouch, ouch. So Sorry, it's not a funny story. Yeah, my mom said something about her brother dying in high school, and I had no memory of this. And she and I were close to the point where I like absolutely would have remembered her losing a sibling. At that point, I hadn't really lost anyone big in my life, and I didn't know that many people who had, so it would have stood out to me. And I just have no memory of this. And at the time, I kind of just like chalked it up to like, I couldn't explain it. Like I was like, I must have like have some like memory loss, and I've never experienced anything like that, memory loss. My mom was just like, yeah, you don't remember that? You don't remember her brother passing away? I didn't really know any of her brothers. They were older. I think I had like seen or met one of them once, but yeah, it was just really, really weird. And it was just one of those things in life that I kind of just had to like let go. I didn't have an explanation for it. But now that I think about it, I wonder if that was like a time slip or a Mandela effect thing, and maybe in some timeline that I came from, she hadn't lost her brother, which, oh my God, sorry, Tito, just kind of sad to think about. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Our next TikToks with user April Wards.
It's time for some Glitch in the Matrix stories.
I couldn't stitch, so I'll tag and do everything to get you back to the original video. Some of you may or may not know that I have had a friend who passed away on 9/11. My birthday is in mid-August, and a couple other friends I had birthdays a little bit towards the end of August, beginning of September. So in 2001, I lived in Hampton, Virginia, and we had a combined big birthday bash at my house. When I was cleaning up afterwards, I found some yearbooks, and it was an elementary yearbook, which I don't know if y'all had those. And I had written in it, I love Paul Ambrose, my friend who passed away. I kind of just laughed it off and put that stuff to the side. So 9/11 happened on a Tuesday. My brother got married on the 15th, a Saturday. So I had to drive from the eastern side of Virginia to the western side of West Virginia. And I did not know he had passed away. I had no idea. Now, his father is like a huge mentor. I love him so much with all my heart, and was also in charge of the department that I was in college. So I knew that when I was in town, I would probably want to stop by there. But that really didn't make any sense because I was only going to be in town for the weekend. So for no reason at all, I called his dad between that Tuesday and that Saturday and just asked him how he was doing. And he sounded really confused and irritated with me. And I was kind of taken aback by that. So I left from work on Friday and drove straight, which is a horrible drive, by the way, straight from there to here. And when I got here, I knew there's no reason that I would have ever packed up an elementary yearbook. But when I was unpacking my stuff, I found that yearbook with his name on it. And that was after I had seen the news here and knew about it. And when I got back home, that yearbook was still where I had left it, and it wasn't in my bags anymore. And I did not put it there. So I don't know if that was a glitch. I don't know what that was. But that'll always be burned in my memory.
Our next TikTok is with the user GGXMHD.
I experienced a glitch in the Matrix the other day. Listen to this. I'm at work. I work at BMW, as a lot of you already know. The phone rings. I answer. This is BMW of city I live in. Government name speaking. How may I help you? Yes, I'm looking for somebody in sales. Oh, I can assist you. Perfect. Okay, we go through the whole process. He's like, oh, I'm interested in a BMW. Like, I want to, try them out. I've never had one before. But the kicker is I'm going through a really bad divorce. My credit's kind of shot. I was like, don't worry about that. We can work on that with you. We get a price range, the whole 9 yards. But the phone starts glitching. The phone starts acting up. I can't hear anything. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you a call from my personal phone number because I can't hear anything you're saying. And he's like, okay, sure. Prior to the phone glitching, he's like, oh, I'd like to come in today. Perfect. I call him from my cell phone. And I was like, I'm so sorry about that. You said you would like to schedule for today. He's like, who is this? I was like, this is government name from BMW. He's like, I
I can't afford no BMW. I was like, did you not just call in? He's like, no. I was like, okay, have a great day. Thanks, bye. And I hang up. I go to my GM and I'm like, look, I don't know if I'm losing my mind, but I need you to go back and listen to this call. I tell him the number and he's like, there's no record of that call. I was like, excuse me? He's like, there's no record of that call. I was like, what do you mean there's no record of that? It's on my phone. Like, I go back into the directories and I can see his number. He's like, it didn't come through the system. What? I don't know.
This is so weird. It's like she jumped timelines when she hung up that call. I mean, it'd be one thing, it's like, okay, maybe this guy's pulling a prank on her, but there's no record of the phone call. It didn't happen. And I mean, that's impossible unless she did jump timelines somehow. Like, I don't know, like, it has to be a glitch in the Matrix. I don't have any theories as to why this could have happened. It's not like oh well, she might have died in a car accident, so she jumped timelines kind of a thing. It's like there's no logical reason I can come up with as to why this call just like dropped off the face of the earth, as to why she could have jumped timelines to where this call didn't happen, unless it was like a situation if this guy came in and he was like dangerous and threatened her life. There's my theory. That's my theory. It just took me a second for my brain to lock in and figure that out. Maybe that's what happened. I feel like that is kind of a long shot, but that's really all I can come up with as an explanation to why. But why or not, I do think it is a glitch in the Matrix. Now, that is all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to tag me in any TikToks that you want me to include in a future video. My username is @theAbbieStrohmeyer. I will have all the creators I featured in this video listed down below in the description so you can check them out as well. I do recommend doing so. While you're down there, I will have the link to my Instagram and TikTok. Please check those out. I post spooky special effects and makeup over on those platforms. We've been having a grand old time over there recently. If you guys like this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I'll pop a couple of video suggestions on the screen for you to watch next. Please click the subscribe button down below and turn post notifications so you would never miss a video. I post Sundays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central Time. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you next time. Bye.